Hello English learners and welcome back to the Level Up English YouTube channel. My name is Michael and I'm doing another outside video today. And I'm going to be walking around, I almost got some dirt in my face there, but I'm going to be walking around Orpington, which is a town on the very outskirts of London, on the Greater London. And I'm going to be talking about things that annoy me today, because I think that British people love to complain about things. We love to get annoyed and complain about things. And because of that, we have so many words that we can use to complain. So I'm going to be walking around and finding really annoying things, sharing them with you while practicing some vocabulary, learning some expressions and things like that. So let's go around and see what we can find that is annoying. I'll start with one good one, one really annoying thing. This is a real pain in the neck for me. And that is, why is it summer? Well, it's almost summer and it's still so cold. You know, we're coming up to the end of spring, beginning of summer, and it's still really cold. You see, I'm dressed up in my winter coat today and my face is red, my face is cold. It's a pain in the neck. So that's our first expression, which is pain in the neck. If something is a pain in the neck, it just means annoying. If you have a pain right in your neck, it basically means it's impossible to ignore. Like, it's such a central part of your body, you cannot ignore that pain. So that's a real pain in the neck, is the cold British springs. Almost summer. Let me know in your country, do you have cold summers? I hope you don't. So one more thing that really makes my blood boil is this. And that is people who litter, especially in really beautiful areas, such as this one. It's a beautiful park. We've got very loud birds, as you can hear. It's very distracting. And people who litter, it really makes my blood boil. So as you might be able to guess, this, again, it just simply means to get really angry about something. You know, when you get angry, you tend to get hot and bothered about something. And because you're hot, you're so hot and angry that your blood is boiling. So if something makes your blood boil, it just means you feel angry. So pretty much all the expressions today are going to just be the same meaning, feeling angry. But as I said, we have lots of different ways in which we can express that anger. So here's a good example. I don't know how well you can see over there, but just under that big tree there is a bird's nest. And I believe there is a bird sitting in the nest at the moment. He's making some sounds, maybe to protect his babies or her babies. And there is also some litter inside the nest. So of course that's not what you want to see, and that makes my blood boil when people litter, especially in a place where there is lots of wildlife. But how is it in your country? Do you have lots of litter around where you are? And does it make your blood boil? Or maybe it's gone even one step further and it's just become kind of an accepted thing, something that you have to live with and you don't even think about anymore. I hope it's not the case. I hope you have a clean country. Yeah, I'm finding this video a little bit hard to make actually, because I like to think of myself as a somewhat positive person and I don't often have much to complain about. I don't have much to argue about. But one thing that I don't know how well you can hear it now, but I can hear it very clearly, is the very big loud road right next to this park. It's neighbouring the park. And honestly, that really pisses me off. That's quite a vulgar way of saying it, but you might have heard that one before. Again, this just means to be really annoyed about something. If you want to say it in a more gentle way, not such a vulgar way, you can say cheeses. It really cheeses me off. It cheeses me off. And that is just the amount of traffic and loud cars that you have in the Greater London area. So of course it's nothing new, it's nothing unusual. If you live in a big city, you know, you have to be prepared to put up with the traffic. There's some more litter on the ground as well. But sometimes the noise, it does piss me off a little bit. And I just wish that maybe all the cars could just like drive in underground tunnels or something like that. And I feel like the world above ground would be a lot more peaceful, and we, you know, put all the noisy cars underground, and you know, we can have a peaceful life above ground. But what do you think? Is that a good idea? I don't know. But that's actually exactly why I came into this park, to get a quiet place to film, because it's a beautiful town, Orpington, where I am, but yeah, it's just got so many cars. Even though it's a weekday, it's not rush hour, but yeah, it's still quite busy. And it is a little bit infuriating. So there's another good word, infuriating, this adjective, just means, yeah, it infuriates me. So to infuriate is to make angry. Infuriating, very annoying, makes me angry. There's like way more birds in this park than people at the moment. So whenever you do feel infuriated, just come somewhere like this. Look how peaceful this looks. I'm a bit scared of the big birds though. I think another thing that people get really bent out of shape about in England is the weather. So as you might be able to see behind me, if it's not too bright and if you can hear me over the cars, it's overcast today, which means it's cloudy, it's not sunny, it's always like this. So I think people get really bent out of shape about that, which just means, again, a little bit annoyed, bent out of shape. For me personally, usually it's okay, like usually I can handle it. I don't find it too infuriating. When it does come to like May or June and it's still cold, it's still cloudy, then in that case it's not so good. So after a few too many months of cold weather, then I do get a bit bent out of shape with it myself. The final thing for today that I would say can get me in a little bit of a huff sometimes. So to be in a huff, I think this is like an onomatopoeia. If you huff, it's like, so it kind of sounds like huff. So it's like to be a little bit annoyed, but not too annoyed. It's not like really annoyed. But I think the other thing that can make me in a little bit of a huff, it's a little bit of a deeper thing, and that is kind of the general attitude here in the UK, which is kind of if you do anything outside of the norm, you're likely to get a lot of judgment, sometimes even like ridicule or something like that. And you might even notice that in some of the videos I do. There'll be like people looking at me strange and stuff like that. And I haven't been to America before, but I think this is one distinction perhaps between like US culture and British culture. I think people in America seem to be more encouraged to think outside the box and do something a little bit different. But maybe in the UK it's a little bit different than that, where you're kind of, if you express any views that are a bit unusual, you might be made fun of or something like that. So that's one thing that can get me in a little bit of a huff, but it's not a big deal, in my opinion. Another thing that might infuriate many people is trains being late. You know, very often we have trains here that are late, they're not on time, and it really messes up your whole schedule, especially if you've got like an airport, like a flight to catch, or some onward travel after your train journey. I think it's much better than it used to be. Like when I was younger, when I was growing up, I feel like pretty much like 5 out of 10 trains were delayed or cancelled or something like that. I don't think it's so bad anymore, but I always recommend if you do come here, don't get the latest train. You know, go a couple trains earlier if you have to, and maybe wait a bit longer. I think that's the safest thing to do. Well, thank you guys very, very much for watching this video today. I hope you liked it and I hope you learned something new. So let me know in the comments if you did. And if you got a little bit annoyed at me talking about annoying things, then maybe you can do something to let off some steam and relax. Let off some steam is to do some activity to kind of get rid of all your tension and stress. So what activity would that be for you? Could just be walk in the park like this. But yeah, despite all of my complaining today, I do think England is actually a very nice place to live, and I've got a lot of good things to say about it, as you can hopefully probably tell based on all of my other videos outside. So it's a great place to live. I've got very few bad things to say about it, but there's always something to complain about, right? And that is the British way. So thanks again, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye for now. Want more lessons from me? I teach group classes. I also have podcast transcripts, accent training courses and classes, and of course much, much more. Become a member today at levelupenglish.school.